Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, depending on where in the world you are joining me from. I am 𝐿𝐿uminati, and this is the Crypto and Cognac podcast show, as always, live every Thursday, 7 p.m. sharp Atlantic Standard Time, right here on YouTube. Guys, welcome. We have a not so exciting show ahead of us, right? Because we were going to be looking at some of the challenges that the space has been facing, over the last couple weeks, I would say. But, there's always better to come, right? There's always some good news to come in the midst of the darkness. And as always, keeping me company is my good friend, Hennessy. You know what's crazy to me? People always be asking me, like, are you really drinking? Are you really drinking this Hennessy? Is it just a prop? You know what I mean? Like, do you really drink as much Hennessy as it seems? I'm like, what you all talking about? You all see me pour. I mean, I am not a magician. And then they ask, do you really drink all the different ones? And I'm like, yes. This is the VS bottle. We just emptied it. Cheers. Last week, we were drinking some VSOP, different bottle, different color. And the week before that, we were drinking some pure white. As you can tell, different bottle, different color. And sometimes we drink some XO when it's something big to celebrate, and sometimes we drink some Paradise when it's even bigger things to celebrate. But yeah, we always drinking Hennessy. And as I've started doing recently, I'm gonna share a little bit about Hennessy Pure White with you guys today. So for those of you all who don't know, Hennessy Pure White is one of the most exclusive versions of Hennessy that you can find in the world. It's actually only distributed in certain parts of Europe and right here in the Caribbean. So it's very well sought after by collectors. Usually I either have to go to Europe, come to the Caribbean, or get one of the liquor marts, liquor stores in the US to import it for you. But there are no distributors carrying this in the US, in North America, in Latin America even. So yeah, we are blessed to have access to this. Pure white, for me, like you all know, not my favorite. It's a bit lighter on the taste, a little lighter on the palate, and it's more for people being introduced to the cognac space. It's lighter, it's smoother, and for people who maybe now learning to explore their alcohol palate or their liqueur palate, it might be a little bit nicer for them. As always, you all know this is my favorite. If you want to get 𝐿𝐿uminati a gift, VSOP is always acceptable, right? But today I'm drinking some VS on the rocks as always. And with that said, time to do some housekeeping. So we have our crypto conversations the same way we have our Hennessy on the rocks. And what does that mean? The ICE rule. It's all about information, conversation, and education. This is not a financial advisory podcast. Nothing that I share here should be misconstrued as financial advice. I am not a financial advisor, right? Hopefully, what I do is share a little bit about this space with you. You share a little bit about this space with me. And hopefully, on the other side of things, we all know a little bit more or have a little bit more confidence about this crazy cryptic space of cryptocurrency after the fact. So, what has been happening? So the global financial space has been in a bit of a flux. Both the equity and the crypto markets have been feeling the heat. those of us or those of you who may have invested in Nvidia when it was pumping at the top, probably feeling the pain of that correction recently. They have also been, an investigation has been started into some of their operations. Their last earnings call didn't come back too promising. So yeah, they've been feeling the pain. And of course, Bitcoin is down right now, Ethereum is down right now, Solana is down right now. The whole crypto market seemingly is down right now. More reds than greens. But why? Right? The fact of the matter is that economic uncertainty driven by rising inflation, supply chain disruptions, energy crises, geopolitical uncertainties, all these things have created a cloud of doubt over traditional markets. And of course, we have been moving a little bit aligned to those traditional markets for the better part of 3 or 4 years. So we are feeling the pain and the pinch as well, right? We know there's continued and growing tensions in Ukraine. There are tensions that are growing in the Middle East over an ongoing genocide. US and China continue to escalate their trade disputes. We've seen Canada get involved in some of those trade disputes as the West tries to, I guess, rein in the growing dominance of China. And all these things have been exacerbated by, like I said, runaway inflation. We have the impact of the expansion of BRICS on the global economy. Excuse me. We have central banks, particularly in the US, struggling to tame inflation. We have the Federal Reserve after an ongoing and extended period of tightening of monetary policies. They have since kind of started indicating that they are going to be softening their position. Is that going to be enough to create a little bit more cautious optimism about what the future is to hold economically? And then on the back end of that, we have a US election. We have two candidates that are generating fears for different reasons. On one side, we have Harris, who is generating fears in the markets because of her strategy to tax unrealized capital gains. I mean, people who have been active in both the crypto and equity markets are very fearful about this. I mean, my little bit of investigation into it has made me not too worried, because I think it only applies to people who I think earn or whose net worth is over 100 million. I mean, I would love to have that problem, but unfortunately, I do not. And then we have on the other side, we have a ecomaniac, I don't even want to know what to say. The orange kid, that who has generated fears that, you know, his ego, his brashness could further trip the wire and escalate tensions globally, leading to World War III. There was these fears back during his last presidency, but I think with the level of instability we have in the world right now, there's even more fear around that. And then I think to bring it back home, the crypto market has been going sideways for a bit. And usually when people get a bit bored, people get a bit uneasy, any little movement can trigger panic. Because if you're not going up, people start fearing that, oh, then obviously the next direction that we're going to be going is down, right? So all these things coming together are creating a very, very uneasy space for equity, crypto, stock investors. The only thing that seems to be doing well consistently and stable is gold. And for those of us who believe that Bitcoin is digital gold, it only reasons that Bitcoin going to start doing well. I think one of the key reasons why we're going to continue to see Bitcoin doing well is one of the things that I mentioned a little while ago in terms of the development of the BRICS economic alliance, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, which is expanding their membership, it seems like every day. And this particular group is actively challenging the dollar's dominance. They are pushing for de-dollarization in global trade. And I think the more that this happens, because the US dollar has for so long been the go-to currency for everyone who wanted to trade, especially between countries, because most people don't trust other currencies. But when where you can't trust the dollar, when the dollar has been weaponized against other countries, we are getting into the territory where countries are not going to trust each other's currency. So what do they then trust? A currency that is not controlled by any government, any institution, cannot be censored. And how many of those you all know in the world? Bitcoin, right? So for me, all these uncertainties further reinforce the potential, the opportunities, the value proposition for Bitcoin in the world. I mean, Bitcoin continues to show its prowess as a store of value, especially where outside of all the, I guess, negative and challenging things happening in the world, I think the world is becoming a lot more globalized. People as global citizens are more mobile. And I think as it relates to store of value, a lot of the assets that we used to place a lot of value in, like homes, property, those kind of things, I think as we become more and more digitally native, we are going to want the assets that we invest in, the things that we store our value in, to be similarly digitally native, to be as easily movable. Because if you really need to opt and leave a country in a short time frame, how are you going to sell that piece of property? How are you going to get the money when you sell that piece of property out of the country? How are you going to be able to move with it? And I think these are some of the things that especially the next generation after ours, the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas, are going to be contemplating as they live their nomadic lives across the world. I think as it relates to crypto in general, I think advancements in blockchain technology are going to further open up the payments infrastructure around cryptocurrency. I think we're going to see more and more opportunities for payments to be done over blockchain. Again, because of the inability to be censored, the opportunities for anyone to participate, the opportunities for people who have traditionally been unbanked and underbanked, those are huge. And I think just the general investment narrative around crypto and Bitcoin is going to continue to grow. We've already seen with the establishment and the adoption of Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETFs in the US. I think those are going to continue to create opportunities for new people to start participating in this industry, and I think it just gives people, I think these ETFs are a gateway drug to the actual custodian of your own Bitcoin, because after you realize, oh, well, I've held this ETF, it's been safe relatively. This investment continues to go up. I trust in it. These investment companies who create these ETFs, they trust in it. So why not hold on to it myself? And I think we're gonna see before in the next couple of years, honestly, I think we're gonna see another major collapse in the banking industry, and I think that loss of confidence, that loss of trust in the banking industry is going to result in a flight of capital, where people are going to want to get back to where they can custody their own funds. And I think ultimately we're going to see a move towards a new financial system that maybe does not take over the old one, but I think we're going to see a shift in the long-term socioeconomic structures of the world. I think we're going to see a move to like non-sovereign, decentralized assets, people holding their own keys, having control over their own economic futures. I'm moving away from trusting fiat, and because we are already seeing the deterioration of trust in governments. And if we don't trust our governments, how are we going to trust the currency that they represent? So I think all these factors make an extremely bullish case for why crypto is going to be around for a very, very long time, why Bitcoin is going to continue to dominate, and continue to be one of the best performing assets in our history, and why I always say that adoption is inevitable, right? Because I mean, nobody has been able to bring a case to me yet to show what is going to lead to the end of Bitcoin. I mean, some people have said quantum computing. I've not seen the data yet. Maybe we'll do an episode on quantum computing in the coming weeks. Let me go and dig up in and do some research. And as I get the information, I'll bring it to you. And maybe we'll have a nice little discussion between us to determine whether or not that is a real threat to Bitcoin, or if the Bitcoin network is just built in a way to absorb those threats. So that's it for me. That is it for me. So guys, as always, tap in the comments, hit me up on Instagram, Crypto Caribbean on Instagram, Crypto Caribbean on Twitter or X, Crypto Caribbean on Facebook, and of course, Crypto Caribbean TV right here on YouTube. Make sure to like, share, tell a friend to tell a friend, because you don't want them to miss out. They have a lot of episodes to catch up on. This is season 5, episode 23. So they have 4 other seasons to catch up on, 23 other episodes in this season to catch up on, so that they could be ready for when this rocket actually takes off. We as a people in the Caribbean need to not be left behind, right? We have everything we need to succeed in this space and in this world. So I'll be with you guys again next week. And as always, have a safe week, guys. May your bags be pumped. Illuminati out. Adoption is inevitable. Bless.